If you believe the royal family's wealth comes from salaries, taxes, or ceremonial roles, you are about to discover a reality most people never hear. The truth is not hidden because it is illegal. It is hidden because it is powerful. The royal family does not need to show wealth the way billionaires do. Their money does not sit in bank accounts waiting to be counted. It sits inside systems built centuries ago, quietly generating influence without ever needing attention. And once you see how this system works, you will understand why nobody talks about their true wealth. Most people assume the royal family is rich because they are famous. That assumption is completely backwards. Fame is only the surface. The real wealth exists beneath layers of institutions, land ownership, legal privileges, and financial structures designed to operate silently. Unlike business tycoons, royal wealth was not built to be visible. It was built to be permanent, and permanence requires secrecy. Here is the first reality most people never realize. The royal family does not simply own property the way regular people do. They control vast portfolios of land, estates, and assets that have been passed down for generations. These lands generate income through agriculture, leasing, commercial development, and investments tied to the property itself. And because the ownership is tied to historic institutions rather than individuals, the wealth rarely appears in personal net worth rankings. This alone hides billions from public view. Now pause here, because this is where the story changes. Royal wealth is not primarily about cash. It is about access. Access to land, access to resources, access to decision-making power that determines how wealth moves. When you control assets that governments depend on, you do not need liquid money. You already control leverage, and leverage is the most powerful form of wealth. Another critical component is the structure protecting this wealth. Royal assets are shielded by legal frameworks that predate modern financial systems. These frameworks separate private ownership from institutional ownership, creating a barrier ordinary people never encounter. This means assets continue generating wealth regardless of public opinion, political shifts, or economic cycles. The system survives even when individual members fade from public focus. Most discussions about royal wealth stop at official allowances, public funding, or ceremonial budgets. That conversation is intentional. It distracts from the far larger picture. The real money flows through private estates, corporate holdings, licensing agreements, and long-term investments that operate quietly under historic privileges. These streams are rarely public, rarely challenged, and rarely explained. Here is where another pattern breaks. The royal family does not need to compete in markets the way businesses do. Markets react to them. Their land determines cities. Their ownership shapes infrastructure. Their historical position grants influence over industries connected to tourism, branding, heritage, and national identity. These are intangible assets, but they generate enormous economic power year after year. Now consider this. Wealth that demands publicity must constantly defend itself. Wealth protected by tradition does not. Royal wealth benefits from something no billionaire can buy: legitimacy backed by centuries of continuity. That legitimacy allows assets to remain untouched, unquestioned, and quietly profitable. This alone separates royal wealth from modern fortunes. There is also a psychological layer most people overlook. Visibility makes wealth vulnerable. The more people know, the more they question. The royal system avoids transparency not to deceive, but to preserve control. Secrecy reduces scrutiny. Reduced scrutiny protects longevity. Longevity multiplies wealth across generations. This is why details remain vague, numbers remain debated, and clarity remains elusive. At this point, many people ask a dangerous question. If this wealth is so vast, why is there no outrage? The answer is simple. Wealth framed as tradition feels acceptable. Wealth framed as history feels justified. The same level of wealth owned by individuals would provoke backlash. But when wealth is presented as national heritage, people stop questioning it. This perception is a shield more effective than any legal document. Now, think about this carefully. The royal family does not need to chase explosive growth. They only need stability. Their wealth grows slowly, consistently and quietly through land value appreciation, controlled assets, and long-term arrangements that never expire. Time works for them, not against them. And time is the greatest compounding force that exists. Here is an example without figures or names. When a major property owned by royal estates increases in value, the gain is not discussed publicly. When commercial leasing generates revenue, it appears ordinary. When assets are restructured internally, nothing changes externally. To the public, everything looks unchanged. Internally, wealth continues accumulating. This invisibility is not accidental. It is engineered. So why does nobody talk about it? Because there is nothing dramatic to see. No scandals, no sudden riches, no flashy displays. The system functions exactly as it was designed to function. Quietly, predictably, permanently. And in a world obsessed with loud success, silent wealth remains ignored. Here is the final realization. Royal wealth is not designed to impress you. It is designed to outlast you. It does not seek validation. It seeks continuity. While public billionaires rise and fall, royal wealth exists on a different timeline. A timeline measured in centuries, not market cycles. That is the difference nobody explains. The truth is simple. The royal family's hidden wealth is not hidden because it is small. It is hidden because it is untouchable. And the less people understand how it works, the longer it remains exactly where it is. If you want to understand how real power survives time, influence, and history itself, subscribe to the Wealth Diaries, because the most important wealth in the world is rarely the kind you see.